let me ask you this: who do you think the best choice is to replace Robert Saleh? Do you think it's Gus? I know you're cool with the Gus Bradley hire. If you had your pick of anyone, who would you take?
Ooh, anybody?
Yeah,
Uh
anyone that's like realistically available.
oh, so like I can't go D'Amico or anything.
No, no
Um,
D'Amico,
okay.
but you could go McDermott, Schwartz, Raheem Morris.
I probably I probably would go with Schwartz. I think I'd go with Schwartz just from the standpoint of you got, he's a proven wide nine guy. I think their wide nine definitely needs some adjustments. I don't think he runs the exact same wide nine, but I want to keep here's my thing, Grant. I want to keep Kasarik. I like Kasarik and I believe in Kasarik. And I think even though the Niners don't have a lot of talent on their front, I thought by the end of the year, every single guy on their front line was playing the best that they could play. And that's really all you can ask out of the coach. So I want to keep Kasarik. So I want to keep some continuity. And that's why I like Gus Bradley because he represents continuity. I'll say this. I don't understand why people are pointing to, well, look at Gus Bradley's passer rating or pass defense rankings with the Chargers and with the Raiders and with the Colts. These teams didn't have great talent. Robert Saleh, the year before Nick Bosa showed up, was going to be run out of town on a rail. People hated him. He suddenly got Nick Bosa, and all of a sudden it was like, hey, Robert Saleh's pretty good. So you got to have players. And then look at what Gus Bradley did this year. They said, Gus, you're in charge of the red zone. And they were 14th in the red zone. They were 24th outside the red zone. So was Gus better than Saleh? I don't know. But then there's the other thing. We get a chance to go in the locker room and talk to the players. And man, I talked to several players, including Gus, but I also got a chance to talk to several players who swore that Gus made them smarter and better players. And this is not this is not one of those group powwow things where they're talking to the masses. This is just like me and my YouTube channel, just like in the corner of the room. Hey, Demo, what do you think of Gus? Gus is an OG. He taught me this and this and this and this. So I don't know. I think Gus is totally fine. I'm not saying that Raheem Morris and Schwartz wouldn't be great. I think they'd be fine as well. But for continuity purposes, Raheem and Schwartz have to come in and kind of watch film for a month. Gus lived it. He doesn't have to watch film. He knows what they got.
I think the reason people are down on Gus Bradley, he's just been around forever. Like, we've all seen Gus Bradley. Even in 2009 to 2012 in Seattle, like, it wasn't a complex defense. It was vanilla. And then since then, Chargers, Raiders, Colts, like he's been a DC for 4 different teams. And every time he's a DC, his defense is characterized by, vanilla schemes, rushing 4, playing cover 3. Maybe now he'll play cover 4, but he's not going to bring pressure. And he's really as good as his defensive line. And there's a reason why he's been bouncing around. There's a reason why no team wanted him to be their defensive coordinator last year. Is he bad? I don't know that he's bad, but I'd rather have Jim Schwartz. And in addition, I would rather have Sean McDermott. I think Sean McDermott's a hell of a coach. I think he probably got screwed over in Buffalo. You give the GM more power and promote the offensive coordinator like it was all his fault. I think he's a hell of a defensive coach, and he'd probably be one and done. But I'd rather have a really good coach who's one and done, a la Robert Saleh, than some guy who might be around for a while or might be one and done in a bad way, a la Nick Sorensen, who was also quite popular with the players. You're going to be popular with the players until you start losing games and not making adjustments. And I think that's kind of why he got fired from Indy and the Raiders and the Chargers. But I don't know. Maybe having Nick Bosa will change things.
Lou Anarumo is another name that I really like. I think Anarumo is a really good coach. He's gotten it done.
Sorry.
Indy's defense, I thought, played pretty well.
I'll say pour him a new one.
If you watch the Niners in Philly, like I was sitting in the corner of the end zone and I'm looking at this, I'm on the binoculars, I'm honed in on the inside the tackle box, and I'm looking at the Niners defense, and it was Kalia Davis and Jordan Elliott and Wallow and Kendricks and Samo and Cleve Farrell, and I'm sitting there going, what the hell? This isn't it. The problem with the Niners is on the defensive side is they were schemed up fine this year. They had no talent. And by the end, it was awful. So I personally, they need to upgrade their talent no matter who they get. but I'd be fine with any of the guys that they. I don't think there's a bad choice there, I guess, is my thought.
I guess what scares me though is just like the Nick Sorensen experience, and Bradley's not Nick Sorensen. Nick
He's not.
Sorensen
I mean,
hadn't really
Nick
been a
Sorensen had
DC,
never
but
been
like
a DC.
that defense had Bosa and Warner and Lenore, and it sucked. It was awful. So it can be like the DC is very important, and Saleh did a hell of a job. As he did a great job this year without Bosa largely and without Fred Warner. So uh, this is a very important hire, and maybe Gus Bradley's the right guy. But I just want to point out that Raheem Morris is also available, and he's a really good defensive coordinator. He was the DC for the Rams when they won the Super Bowl. He's a Super Bowl champion. And he may run a slightly different scheme, but that's okay. Evolving is fine. It's something they might want to consider.
The biggest issue that I see for the 49ers on defense is that they used to have the best linebacking core in football, and they now have the worst. They used to have the fastest linebackers in football. Now they're slow as hell. If you look at Seattle's defense, man, their second level defenders were just Drake Thomas. He can fly. Yeah, Nicky Manwari, he can fly. You got to have second level speed. They don't have it right now.
The Real Lyrics Media says KJ Wright's kid is in my son's class. He chaperoned today, and I told him he'll be the next D'Amico Ryans. I do think that the 49ers feel that. And he's clearly not ready because he's still a quality control coach, and D'Amico went through, being a linebacker coach first. But if they were to make Gus Bradley a defensive coordinator, which I think they will, he coached KJ Wright. There's a whole continuity thing there, and it might be that Gus Bradley would only be the guy for a year or two or three until KJ's ready. Something to think about. I just don't understand why Kyle is so married to the Pete Carroll system, dude. Like, Seattle doesn't run that anymore. No one runs it anymore. Why? It's been 10 years.
Well, even that, they don't even do the Niners don't even run that anymore. I mean, Shanahan talked about this about a month ago about the evolution where when they first came in, that it was, a lot of cover three.
Yeah, but you still want coaches from that tree, though. You still want coaches from that tree.
But I mean, what they're doing from 17 to 19 was one thing. From 19 to the present, it's been different. But I think the KJ Wright thing is really interesting. When I coached in the Canadian League, that was my job. I was the defensive quality control coach. So I know that's the low man on the totem pole. I mean, that you're the lowest guy there is outside of special teams, like Ronald Blair, technically, with the special teams quality control. But that means you're a new coach, right? And I think if this were 3 years down the line, they'd probably just hire KJ Wright. But I think you might see Gus Bradley for 2 years and then KJ Wright for the next 5 years. And then that's probably
the plan.
That's probably the plan. Yeah.
That's probably the plan. Justin says Emmanuel McNeil Warren could be our Eamon Warren.
Yeah. Toledo. I was just talking about him earlier. He's a rangy, big safety who can fly. They need big time players across the board on defense, and this guy's a difference maker. He really is. I would consider drafting this guy. We got to see what he works out like, but if he runs well, that's a guy that I would consider using the first round pick on.
It does seem like that big nickel spot is becoming a critical position in today's NFL because no one wants to be in base defense. So I could see that my thing with Upton Stout, good player, but you draft him in round 3 and he can only play one position. Like Devin Witherspoon can play in the slot, but he can also play outside. You don't want Upton Stout playing outside, and that really limits what you can do as opposed to what the Seahawks can do with Witherspoon. That's my only thing.
Upton Stout is freaking amazing, but he's 5'8", and there's limits when you're 5'8". Now, I think he's really good, but I mean, it'd be nice if the 49ers had their version of Nick Manwari, somebody who's really big, really fast, can close a lot of space in a hurry.
They put Jason Pinnock at that spot. Like, no, that's not the same.
No, he's gone.
That's like telling me you got Big Macs at home. Like, no, that's not a Big Mac. That's terrible.